Hello everybody, my name's Nerdy Lover and welcome to episode number 6 of our Premier League version of the football betting show here on YouTube. We've had a moderately successful weekend in terms of win percentage in the Premier League, just perhaps not in terms of finances. And that's partially based on my reticence to go for a full stake on both teams to score, but I may have learnt my lesson. So let's quickly recap our bets from this match day just gone before we look forward to the weekend, the 10th and 11th of September. Starting off, Brentford and Leeds, both teams to score, came in pretty easy enough. Our £10 stake picked up £6.80. Spurs versus Fulham, well, they left it late, but Spurs did see off Fulham in a solid enough win. And actually, considering the odds of about 1 to 2, they left us hanging for a bit, but we did pick out £10.60 there. Liverpool and Manchester City both let us down in our double. I thought we were getting reasonable value of about 3 to 4, so we did take a hit of a full £20 stake there. And Manchester United-Arsenal, Man United romped out a 3-1 win in quite convincing fashion, actually, against Arsenal. We picked up £6.50 there. So we went 3 from 4 in our first batch of Premier League matches in September. 75% win rate, but only a total profit of £3.90. We're going to look to improve on that with this week's selections. So without further ado, let's jump into the first match on the card. Kicking episode 6 off, we have 10th placed Fulham hosting 6th placed Chelsea in a West London derby. And I have to admit, the hosts have started off a lot more competitively than I expected. Whilst I did expect them to come out and play an expansive brand of attacking football, I thought it would be perhaps a bit naive of them. In the last 2 Premier League campaigns, they have tried to go toe-to-toe with these regular Premier League sides, and they've come up short. But I honestly think that some sides have been perhaps taken aback with the vigor that they've displayed and the way that they've approached games. Right from the first kickoff when they picked up that 2-2 draw against Liverpool. Fulham have also picked up fairly impressive wins against Brentford and Brighton, teams that I expect to be in the middle or the top middle half of the table. Chelsea, on the other hand, have been a model of inconsistency, and there's several factors which contribute to this. I think part of it is a slow start in pre-season, and combined that with Tuchel's abrasive management style and leaving it quite late in the transfer market. But now that Chelsea have a settled squad of players, I think the results will start to pick up. And Chelsea were also very fortunate in their win against West Ham in a weekend which was filled with VAR controversy. They're going to have a good shot at returning to form against Fulham here, because when we look at the head-to-head record, Fulham have not beaten Chelsea in each of their last 20 encounters, with Chelsea winning 60% of these games. Additionally, Chelsea have won each of the last 7 games in a row. Chelsea are the much better side on paper, and I feel like their recent blip of form will eventually come to an end. So why would it not come to an end against a side which they have dominated in recent history? We're also getting really good odds of Chelsea at about 1.75. I think it's a bit of a steal, even though they are the away side. Chelsea in a single is our first selection for this episode. Next up, we're down on the south coast at St Mary's as 12th placed Southampton host 8th placed Brentford. And Southampton have surprised quite a lot of neutrals, I must admit, myself included, with a 2-1 win against Chelsea on match day 5. I do have to say I've not been completely impressed with them this year. As we quickly run through a couple of key statistics, they're averaging 1.2 goals a game with only a 10% shot conversion rate. 1.8 key chances per game, so they are being quite clinical to score 1.2 goals from those 1.8 key chances. Additionally, when we look at the defensive stats, Southampton have got no clean sheets to this point in the season and conceded 1.7 goals per game on average. It's not quite relegation form, but it's not incredibly impressive either. They've done quite well to pick up the points they have to find themselves in 12th place to this stage in the season. We do need to compare that to Brentford, on the other hand, and they have picked up right where they left off last year, losing only 1 of their 6 matches, and they've gone the last 4 games unbeaten. Their single season loss to this point was against Fulham, where they did concede a 91st minutes goal to a informed Mitrovic, so you can't really hold that against them too much when you weigh up the highlights of the season, such as defeating Manchester United by 4-0. When we compare the key statistics, Brentford are averaging 2.5 goals per game with a conversion rate almost double that of Southampton at 19% compared to Southampton's 10%. 3.5 key chances created per game as well. They do only have one clean sheet when we look at defensive metrics and concede 1.5 goals per game. So it's actually looking fairly likely that both teams might score, but I do fancy Brentford. I'm not 100% confident they will win this one, so I'm not going to be backing Brentford. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be laying Southampton, so they will not win at home. I fancy Brentford to at least come away from this match with a point. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to do double chance Brentford or laying Southampton on the exchange in bet number 2. Sticking on the south coast, we're going to move a couple miles to the west as Bournemouth hosts Brighton. The Cherries sit 13th and play host to a high-flying Seagull side. Obviously, the first thing we think of as pundits when Bournemouth is mentioned is the 9-0 defeat they suffered against Liverpool. However, there's a bit of change in management as Scott Parker is no longer at the helm, and since he's been dismissed from his duty, the Cherries have done well to pick up 4 points, drawing 0-0 against Wolves and winning a 3-2 clutch game against Nottingham Forest, where at one point they were 2 goals down. Brighton, on the other hand, have started in quite hot fashion. They were unbeaten up until their game against Fulham last week. And Brighton have fallen into this strange pattern, really. Most of their points are coming from away from home. A lot of teams set up to get points, wins and draws from home, and then they go away and perhaps don't do quite as well. But Brighton have almost the polar opposite of this. And they do have one of the best away records in the division to this point. With no recent head-to-head to go off, we're going to be leaning towards Brighton at roughly 17/20 or 1.85 on the exchange. Brighton to beat Bournemouth is going to be our single for bet number 3. Wrapping things up here on the Sunday evening, it is 15th place Crystal Palace hosting 5th place Manchester United. Crystal Palace have only picked up a single win to this point in the season against a struggling Aston Villa side who are yet to find their feet in this season. Manchester United also had a slow start, but following losses to Brighton and Brentford, carried on their form from an upset 2-1 win against Liverpool and ripped off a quick 4-game winning streak to propel them all the way from the relegation zone into 5th place. Now, while Selhurst Park is considered a fortress for Crystal Palace, they have only won 1/3 of games from home this far in the season against the aforementioned Aston Villa. On the other side of the argument, Manchester United do have the joint best away record in the division, amassing 6 points through 3 games at this stage in the season. When we examine the head-to-head, Crystal Palace have more than held their own against Manchester United in recent encounters, tasting defeat only once in the last 4 games. My angle here is that Manchester United will upset the apple cart in the recent trend column. They'll break down a solid Crystal Palace side at home. They appear to have turned the corner under the stewardship of Erik ten Hag, and I believe they will continue their impetuous form against the Eagles here in our final selection. So, with our selections laid out in front of us, the only thing to do is to jump across the spreadsheet and have a quick recap of the games that we're thinking of backing in this week. Back on the spreadsheet, we have 3 games on the Saturday, 1 on the Sunday, starting with the early kickoff. Fulham host Chelsea, and we're going to be taking Chelsea to win away from home. Odds of 4/5 or 1.8 on the exchange sees a £20 stake to return up to £16. 2 3 o'clock matches, we have Southampton versus Brentford, and we're going to lay Southampton on the exchange or double chance Brentford at odds of about 1.68, a £20 stake to return £13.60, which I didn't think was too bad considering we're covering both options, Brentford and the draw. The second 3 o'clock kickoff is a South Coast derby as Bournemouth host Brighton. We're going to be taking Brighton to win away from. We're not scared of taking Brighton away from home because they do have a really healthy away record, and Bournemouth, well, they look like a championship side. Odds of 1.68 on the exchange, a £20 stake to return £17.20. And wrapping things up with our 4th selection on the Sunday, Crystal Palace will host Manchester United. You're getting odds off on Manchester United at almost 6-5, a £20 stake to return £23.60. So this weekend in the Premiership, we're going to be risking £80 in order to try and pick up £70.40. Will we turn a more healthy profit in the Premier League? Well, there's only one way to find out for sure, and that's tune in for the next episode. But if you made it to this point in the video, please like, comment, and subscribe. My name's been Nerdy Lover, and as always, have yourself a lovely day.